Hello Mzansi, welcome back to another episode of Farmers Inside Track. I'm your host, Duncan Masiwa. So from fleet management to construction to tracking to farming, what is it that this man, Henrey Gibbs, does not do? Henry, you mind answering the question? And that's not even all of it, right?
That's not even all of it. I think the only things that I have not been doing are illegal ones. Maybe I should try and invest in those ones. But that's a story for another.
Take us to your profile. What exactly is your brand, Henrey Gibbs?
So I think since 2014, my first company was registered in 2012, which was Creative Warfare. And out of that, we managed to birth Creative Fleet Solutions, Creative Construction and Design, Creative Burdere, which is under one umbrella, and we're focusing in different fields.
Yeah.
Creative Warfare initially started as a company that was supposed to buy companies and resell them.
Mm-hmm.
Rebrand and resell
And
them.
you called it Creative?
Warfare.
Lovely name, by the way.
I thought so as well. The logo used to have a bullet hole in between. So as the company grew, it did not make sense.
Okay.
And people we were doing business with were like, what is this thing, this bullet hole? Are you going to fight us? Because the slogan as well is in line with that bullet and the warfare part.
Yeah.
So the slogan is imaginative artillery. So you can just hear, we're fighting. It's guns blazing. Out of that came the other creatives, and then we later on partnered and joined with a company called Dreamfinders Trading and Projects 115, which is a major shareholder is my older brother, Abednego Murebudi, and he's a partner in these creatives.
So 2 siblings.
9 siblings.
9.
Yes, I've got a big family.
I love that. Same with my mother. She's
Yeah.
got 8 sisters and 1 brother.
Yeah, I've got 4 brothers and 5 sisters. So it's 4 boys and 5 girls. Crazy household.
And
And
you
I'm the
are?
9th one.
You're the 9. Oh gosh, he's the baby. He is the
I'm the baby, yeah. I've got nephews that are older than I am. I think my eldest sister is 59.
Yes. But it must be lovely growing up in such a big and diverse family.
Ooh, lovely.
You mentioned something in the beginning and, just dawned on me. The importance of branding. You mentioned one of your companies had the bullet hole in and it had this, I suppose, warfare energy around it.
Yes.
Why is that so important, having a brand? Because you eventually changed it, right? And there was a reason why you changed it. Why is it so important to have a brand from the get-go that resonates with your message, but also, I suppose, the industry that you operate in?
It's important in the sense that people tend to associate and relate to a brand. When relating to a brand, you as the consumer or the investor need to be comfortable with the brand. Now, if it does not go with the line that you've said of, okay, I'm not a person that fights, and you are now supposed to associate to this brand that portrays a message of we are in battle, then chances are you will not be interested in that company. So branding becomes important because people relate to that particular brand. We can take a lot of brands, including clothing brands. Some of them just a dot on a t-shirt and it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
People look at it and they already fall in love with it because it's got no particular message to it.
Yeah.
Branding is important.
I asked that question because you find that there's a lot of farmers that they're eager to get into the space and they just choose a logo for the sake of choosing a logo or choosing a brand for the sake of choosing a brand, but they often don't think long term and end up changing the business strategy going forward and the business image going forward. Coming back to farming, and that's why we're here. That's why we're here. Your journey started when you were attending an auction in Mafikeng at some point, and you fell in love with the livestock industry. What was it about that?
I became a bit inquisitive with farming at some point. So I had a friend and mentor that I used to consult. So every time we'd meet, he'd say, hey, I've got stress. I need to buy this particular thing for the farm. Or, hey, my wife needs a car, so I'm going for an auction. I'm going to sell off my livestock so I can buy a car. And I kept on asking a lot of questions. So Mr. Ndakani then one day invited me over to an auction in Mafikeng, not knowing that he was not going to buy. he was actually trying to get me into the stay. Got to the auction on that particular day. He says to me, right, we're using your car, we're using your diesel, we're going to the auction. Get there, he says to me, register to buy. I said, but I'm not buying. I don't even have land. I were to buy.
First time attending an auction.
First time attending an auction. So I get there, we register, we sit, and this man is busy bidding. And this man is bidding. Now in my head, he registered 2 tickets. So he kept my ticket as well. And he kept his ticket. So in my head, he's bidding for himself because we're here because of him. At the end of the auction, he says to me, no, I think we're done. Let's go pay. Must I pay? Yeah, you must go pay. You just bought 3 kettles. I'm thinking, excuse me? He says, no, I bought you 3 kettles. They in your name. And that's how the journey started. So my next question becomes, where am I going to keep these? Yeah. He says to me, right,
who's going to look after them?
Let us have a deal. I'm going to take your cattle and keep them on my farm. We're going to agree that 3 times a week, you are going to come visit the farm. Check on your animals. I'll provide a herdsman for you until you're up on your feet. We did that for a good year. By the time the year ended, I think we were sitting at about 20 kettles already. Because we went and bought others.
Oh, okay.
And he was advising and saying to me, this is how you pick. And some of them are pregnant. They gave birth. So the journey started. So I started going to the farm 3 times a week. That was my commitment to his farm. Until eventually he said to me, right, as and when you're in the right position to move or you've secured land, I'm happy to release you. And started looking for land, eventually got land, bought land, moved my things, and we can only but hope to move from strength to strength.
What an introduction into agriculture.
What an introduction. I literally fell into it.
Literally.
Yeah, by force. So I was shocked on that day. You bought cattle.
Yeah.
Thinking, me? No, I didn't buy cattle. He said, how you registered? Here's your ticket. I'm like, wow.
Beautiful story. Of course, years later, you invested. You also now farm with sheep as well. Take us through your business. What does it look like? The cattle, the sheep, your choices of breed, brother.
Currently, we host Bonsmara cattle on the farm, and we host boer goats, actually. The boer goats just came in last year as a supplement to the cattle. The choice of cattle, why we chose the Bonsmara, is because of the resilience and the experiences and engagements that we've had with past Bonsmara farmers. So I realized that it's a very popular breed and people are actually making money out of it, which is the moral of the story out of this whole farming thing. So I then decided to invest in the Bonsmara breed. I've got a lot of love for the white Brahman, but I think the Bonsmara. So we brought in the goat last year to can supplement on the cattle because taking care of those things becomes a bit extremely expensive. So what we did then is that we got the goats in because those things give birth twice a year when managed properly.
Explain that to me because, someone's listening to this conversation now and saying, how do you get that right?
So goats are pregnant for about 6 months in a year. So a month after they give birth, they are likely to fall pregnant again. So they're able to breastfeed and be pregnant at the same time. Same goes with a cow. With a cow, we call them actually 3-in-1s at the auction. So you've got the cow, you've got the calf, and it's pregnant. So those are 3-in-1s. Very rare and quite pricey, but it's actually good buys because you're getting 3 cows in one, hoping that the one that's pregnant will come out alive because you never know with these things. So we brought those in just for cash flow purposes because you get to sell more often than you would with cows. Like Anton was saying, with feedlotting, it becomes easier because you're chasing the weight. As soon as it reaches the weight, it needs to go. But with field grazing, it becomes different. You keep them, they grow until a certain particular month, and then you auction them off, get new stock in, those ones give birth, and that's how the story goes. Yeah.
Listening to you speak, it's clear that you are very strategic in how you approach business. You mentioned now the goats that you bought in. Take us through some of the strategies that you implement in your farming practice that you swear by contributes to your success at the end of the day.
They call me, where I farm, they call me shoot to kill.
Again with the shooting.
So why the shoot to kill is that people around me that are farming around my farm experience a lot of livestock theft. With that being said, people never enter my farm.
Which is shoot to kill.
My farm is not a playground. And my farm is not a game reserve where people get to visit. So it is only by appointment that we allow people to come and visit, or whether maybe we're camping on the farm. It's only when people are allowed to go there, because that's a business and we need to treat it as such.
I need to stop you there. I love that you treat your farm in that way, that it's not a playground. It's not about inviting people to come and see what it is that you do. You're running a business at the end of the day. I love that.
So principles, I'm one person, and I think that's how I generally do things with business across the board. If something is to fail, I actually want to practically do it and fail at it. So I think of the more reasons why it would work as opposed to the more reasons why it should not work. So I'd rather fail doing it than not having done it, and then go back and say, right, I failed. What was the mistake? Here's the mistake. Let's try again. Or this thing is definitely not going to work. Should we do it again, it's going to fail. Same with cattle. I learn by doing. This livestock farming thing, I was thrown in deep end, and I'm just learning how to swim. We'll figure it out. So I'm fairly still learning, but so far, so good. No complaint.
When we did the pre-interview questions, you were telling me that you don't have any formal training in agriculture.
None whatsoever. I tried. It was for a month, and then I had to leave. It just happened. So the year before that, I thought to myself, right, you well vested into this farming thing. Why not get some training aligned with what you try to do? Did a bit of research, realized that there are short courses, but I'd rather have a diploma or a degree. It was too late to get into the Northwest University Potchefstroom campus. Someone advised me that no, they're busy doing the intakes at the Potchefstroom College of Agriculture, one in Potch. Why not try them? So I applied. Next thing, not been accepted. Next thing, I'm registering. Next thing, I'm attending class. So you need to realize I have not been in class for a very long time. It's been ages since I last sat in a lecture room. So now I'm sitting here. Now, the other thing is that you're sitting in class with a huge age gap between yourself and your classmate, because they first year, 18, 19, straight from high school, and here you are, and they're busy calling you fruitman. Some of them are calling you timer. So it's a mess. But anyways, we got over that. School started. I was there for a month. Now, issue is that lectures, whether you are their age or younger or older, it does not matter. They treat the students the same. You experience a lot of you being reprimanded as you being a child. Now you're trying to juggle work and class at the same time. I used to sit with my laptop in the lecture room, attend to emails and whatever I needed to do while listening to the lecture. So I think at a point that also got irritating to lectures, and I thought to myself, my goodness, this is not going to work, because now I was at school from 7:30 to 4:30 in the afternoon.
And you've got all these other businesses that you
can imagine my phone ringing in class. So it's vibration after vibration. And every time I take the phone, it's the office, they calling. Or it's my brother calling, and this one, or the drivers, or whatever the case may be. So it got irritating for other people as well, because they're expecting 100% concentration in class. A month later, I then took a decision to say, no, this is not going to work. I'll find short courses that I can do in order to supplement what I actually wanted to do.
Henry, you've got all these other businesses that you're involved in. I'm wondering, do they ever fight for your time and attention? How are you able to navigate all these hats that you wear?
That's a pretty difficult one. They fight for my time. Often I survive on 4 hours of sleep a day. And 20 hours, it's either I'm on the road, sitting in a meeting, having to meet with someone, or just traveling to different sites. The fleet part, currently has the most time-consuming requirements that I've ever come across, because I think currently that's the busiest of them all. We're dealing with quite major projects of having to supply to a client 300 vehicles and having to manage them at the same time. That might sound like nothing, but it takes a lot. It's the service, the insurance, it's the tire placements, it's the disc renewals, it's the driver allocation, it's the fuel. It's a lot. And managing that magnitude of vehicles in that industry is stressful, because if one person does not do what they need to do, then we've got a problem. Because now the client is sitting on my neck because of 4 other people that did not do what they needed to do. So it's like a baby. You need to always be checking in. Invoices submitted on time. Were we able to negotiate with dealers for better prices on tires? Who are we using as our service center? And who's doing the 24-hour roadside assistance? Claims processed, insurance claims processed in time. It's an issue. It's a lot. Garage cards expire. They need to be replaced before they expire. Otherwise, the client pours petrol and they're stuck at a garage because the petrol card won't swipe. Driver tags won't start vehicles. We need to send comms over the air to give them permission to do that. So it's a lot. So I think the most consuming is the fuel part currently.
I suppose it's safe to say that no day looks the same ever for you.
Ever. There are days where I get to wake up at 10 o'clock sometimes, but then it just means I've delayed my day and put more pressure on myself. So the earlier I'm up, the earlier I get to squeeze in going to the gym, the better for myself.
Henry, why do you do what you do? Because I would imagine that someone that works as hard as you do, there's a why, there's a reason.
My wife calls me a liker of things. So I like nice things. And I always say to people, being spontaneous requires money. So I'm that kind of a person that wakes up in the morning and decides, but babe, can't we have lunch in Cape Town or something? It must not be a long-term plan. I think we can do lunch in Cape Town. Please get us flights. Out we go, rental, have lunch. If we're sleeping over and we don't have luggage, be able to walk into a store and buy clothes, toiletries, life goes on. So that is why I do what I do.
Freedom.
I like nice things. And being like me requires money.
Yeah.
So I need to work in order to be like me.
Yeah. Speaking about money, again, all these businesses around you, how do you approach financial making decisions? I can't imagine it's an easy one.
That's a difficult one. So I had this conversation with my brother not so long ago. We were talking money. And had I known what I know now 5 years ago, I would have made better and different financial decisions. The handling of money comes with experience and actually having money in order for you to look at things from a different perspective. I would be in a better place now financially, better than what I am now, had I taken the decisions that I'm taking now 5 years ago. So basically what I'm saying is that the past 5 years I've wasted money unnecessarily.
And to sit with that and to know that thousands upon thousands of rands have gone down the drain.
It's very frustrating. I sit now and I look back, and there are certain decisions that I took then, financial decisions that I would not take now. I think I've done it all. I'm okay. I'm more relaxed now. I think I'm more matured with regards to how to use money. One thing about money, if you don't respect it, it will not respect you. If it doesn't respect you, it will not stay with you. So that's what I've learned in the past 5 years.
As a farmer and as an entrepreneur, what are some of the biggest mistakes that you've made? How did you learn from them?
Not spending money as it should be spent. Not putting money in the right places where it needed to be put. I was speaking to Anton, which was one of our guest speakers, and he said to me, if I cannot buy it cash, then it means I cannot afford it. I'd rather save up, work harder, get what I need, and go buy whatever I need to buy. Which in essence, I think he's much older than I am. He also went through the same experience and now is sitting there and thinking, okay, fine. You know, money requires people to count cents and rand. You need to count cents and rands because once you don't do that, then you cannot account for the thousands. It's very impossible. My only mistake is not respecting money in the past. But I've learned and I'm going to do things. I'm doing things better now.
Yeah. What is the one piece of advice that you've received in the past that you're glad you ignored? Let's start there. And what is the one piece of advice that you're glad you listened to and followed through?
Difficult one. One ignored, one that I took.
Yeah.
One that I took was from my older brother that comes directly before me. So I'm originally from Rustenburg. And I tried starting my business in Rustenburg. And I remember him saying to me, and that's the advice that I took, you will never grow in a town that you come from.
Sure.
And a month from there, I relocated to Klerksdorp.
You will never grow in a town that you come from.
Yeah. There is a saying that he used in Tswana. I hope I can directly translate this. Muruti khana tlotla kwa tswang ko teng, which means a king can never get appraisal from where they fall, but other nations will give that king appraisal. So it is the same principle. So a month later from there, after hearing that advice, I took it. And I was packing and out of Rustenburg. And I got here and things started opening up. And this was happening and that was happening. And things started coming together. One advice that I'm glad I did not take is when it was a family member actually said to me, marriage is nonsense. Clearly they had a bad experience in marriage. Because I'm glad I did not take that advice. I grew up in a family where my mother was here, my dad was here. Though there were fights and disagreements, but I looked at that picture and it looked appealing to me. And I'm glad I did not take that man's advice because then it meant I would have not been married today and have the family that, which I'm eternally grateful for.
Yeah.
So that is one advice that I'm
glad you do and that you steered away from.
Definitely.
What does the next 10 years look like for Henrey Gibbs?
Next 10 years, relocation back to Gauteng. So I stayed in Gauteng briefly and before coming to Johannesburg with Klerksdorp, we have mutually taken the decision to relocate back to Johannesburg with my wife and obviously pack up the entire family. That's in the next 10 years. In the next 10 years, I need not to be having to wake up at 5 a.m. and start working. So I've always had a dream of retiring at 45. So it means in the next 10 years, I would be retired.
Yeah.
So let's work on that plan.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Henrey Gibbs, a serial entrepreneur of note. A man who is involved in any space that you can think of. What a lovely conversation. Make sure that you, of course, read the article that we write about this episode on www.foodfromzansi.co.za. That's a wrap. Remember to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform so you never miss any of the episodes. From me, Duncan Masiwa, our technical producer, Megan van der Vent, and the rest of #Team Food from Zanzi, thanks for listening.